Citizens of Gotham, subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media for more.
That was Jimbo Fisher.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want more exclusive bonus content, and maybe you'll see some videos of Mrs. Met there. Links are below.
We begin another Greg Cody Tuesday with no Greg Cody. Left late, doesn't need meetings because, as you know, he's perfected the art of entertainment and doesn't need to see anybody, just glides in. He'll do so breathlessly. You will hear his computer make a lot of noise when he comes in. He might knock over the mic. We love him anyway.
It'll be like traffic. Like, oh, imagine that. Who could have seen that coming?
Listen, in his defense, the traffic was terrible today.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm here ready to go.
Minutes.
Well, I haven't been here for 45 minutes. I've been here for about 25 minutes, but the traffic's been bad. So,
In Greg's defense, we shouldn't have told him that we changed the time that we were taping, and then he'd be on time every week.
But I did tell him the meeting starts at 8:15. Yeah. But that means you have to leave at the same time as you would, because traffic, like this, the way traffic works is it gets worse as the later you go. So if we're starting later, that doesn't mean you can leave an hour. Hey, speak of the devil.
Yeah, he's going to come in now, and he'll make all the noise that he makes. And look, in his defense, thank you, he says, as he walks in behind me. But in his defense, we've never done meetings before. In the history of this show, ESPN so badly wanted us to do meetings, except everyone else seems to be getting here in the traffic, through the traffic. What has been voted empirically, some of the worst traffic in the world, because of how overpopulated we are. Greg Cody gets here consistently late because, he has trouble with the time management. His computer's not ready. He's fiddling. You may hear that he is now breathless. And
like Jerry Lee Lewis, breathless.
It's a gack.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, speaking of our meeting, I started, or you missed a banger of a meeting, Dad. I started it by adjourning it.
yes,
Really?
yes.
With
Well,
a gavel?
Well, we have competition going here for the executive producer job that nobody wants, but everyone should have because it's a promotion. It's a big job. It has a lot of responsibility, a lot of things like meetings that people don't want to do. And everyone's competing for it. David Sampson, Pablo Torre, and Chris Cote is getting the first crack at it.
I said,
here.
I got this today. Meeting adjourned. I mean,
That
let's start.
He started the meeting with an adjournment and with a father who was not here.
Does Chris have the early lead? I mean, what do you think?
He's the first one to do it, I think. I think he's the first
It's
one.
not going to be Sampson, though, right? I mean, maybe.
I need his help with business. It's been Billy mentioned yesterday in passing. We probably need to talk about this a little more. He told me it was not popular. I don't expect it to be popular, but I have not been checking in on local criticisms recently. I need his help with the business side of this. Like, the company needs his help with the business side of some of this stuff.
So David's going to be running our business.
I mean, he's trying to angle for a lot of different positions in the company.
I'm proud of him.
As long as he's not acquiring the talent, because, we've seen how that works out.
Billy has noticed that we are acquiring talent at Meadowlark Media, and I don't know who he's going to pitch this to. Are you okay, Stugotz? Is everything okay?
Yep. Little cough attack, Dan.
Yeah, you're struggling.
Got a chest cold. I've been traveling a lot, and my body's starting to wear down.
You come here, though. I appreciate you.
But I'm here.
Heroic.
Yeah, I come here, man.
Yeah, the last couple of weeks and months and years have been tough on the Stugotz body, and I've been telling him, hey, Stugotz, you're not 24 anymore. You can't just get on and off
I
flights.
so badly want to be 24, though, still.
You're not even you're not even 34.
I know. I'm not even 44. I mean...
And you're moving now like you're 144 because instead of back exercises, you've just been taking epidurals meant for the spine and labor pain.
Yep.
That sounds awesome.
I'm due for one.
I feel like at 24, you probably did worse things to your body, though, than you're doing now.
Yeah, but I'm paying for them right now. Yeah.
Top 5 worst things you've done to your body?
Oh, that's a good top 5 list. We'll get to that in a second. Also, we never got to this yesterday. Dusty May of FAU. His family reports that in their brackets, 2 of the family members had him going out in the Sweet 16. So they had him they had lower expectations for Daddy and their husband than.
That's a deep run. They're doing that for Dad. You're right.
Is.
Yes.
And one of his children did have them getting to the Final Four, but now losing the next game. So no one was bold enough in the family to make him a champion. But let's get to the top 5, Stugotz, at some point before the end of the hour of worst things you've done to your to your body. Jeremy's got a couple of top 5 lists. We got a lot of people competing for this position. Tony wants it. Jeremy wants it. Jeremy came in with like 70 top 5 lists and one of them from Glee because
it's his wheelhouse.
I mean, I want
That's it, Dano.
I want to talk to him about the Heat. I want to talk to him about the Marlins. Opening day is this week.
Is Glee still on?
No, it's been off for a decade.
Okay.
So why do you have a top 5 list today?
TikTok, man.
Everyone's
Algorithms.
trying to impress management to become the executive producer of the show. But Billy,
Yeah.
the podcast that you have offered us because you are feeling neglected. You don't feel it's weird as Meadowlark Media signs all these podcasts. We don't have a baseball podcast other than Mike Schur's.
Yeah, but we don't have one that people listen to. Is the problem?
Right.
So here's
I
the
mean,
thing.
me and Billy are trying to put one together.
Well,
but,
that's really.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, that's where see, you saying we're trying to put one together, I think is where the effort has ended, is the situation.
We had a call. I mean,
Well, that's the thing. We did have a call because we have someone who's in our universe to an extent, in Joba Chamberlain, who does a football podcast with us. And for 2 years, has been like, hey, I want to branch out. Why don't we try to do God Bless Baseball? Or like, yeah, like, why not? Right? And then that's kind of like where that goes. But then
No, please finish that thought. Like, that's the end of it. That's Stugotz saying, I birthed an idea, give me $1 million? Or like, what?
No.
No.
In my defense, Billy, I mean,
It's Stugotz's I don't know what the defense is.
it was just $500,000.
Well,
A Joba Chamberlain baseball show is something that you think will tear apart the galaxy?
Well, no, we wanted to branch off, and, God Bless Football has been a success. By the way, God Bless Football was once again nominated for Best American Football Podcast.
Thank you. 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, no, but we haven't won yet. We need people to
We're gonna
vote for
win.
us. So go to sportspodcastawards.com, and then in there you can find voting and vote for us. And we've done a really bad job of promoting it. There's only like 2 weeks left of voting, if even that. So please go
Our
vote
audience
if you
will
can.
fix that though.
Hopefully.
Billy's
Yeah.
also on the committee of these awards. So something's happening here where he's like putting his podcast along further than like Tighten Up or
absolutely-
Colt Down or something like that.
That's
Or the Greg Cody show.
That's okay. Let me clarify
You
this.
can
'cause-
nominate your own show. I mean,
No. Everyone can nominate a show. It's open to nominations. And then as part of the thing, they invite people from every company to go and be parts of committees for categories that they're not nominated in. And I'm not supposed to reveal what category I was in, but since Tony's being a dickhead, I will tell you that I was on the panel for the team committee, which is not a category that we were a part of. So now everyone that's in the team committee that made a nomination and didn't get through can blame me for that. So thank you, Tony.
I also tried to get Cinephile. It's a sports podcast awards. I tried to get Cinephile in there under the diversity category.
Shout out to Chris, because I was banging the drum,
Tried.
telling everyone hey guys, try to nominate your shows. There's lots of categories. We fit in lots of categories. The only person that nominated in the 2 years that we've done it has been Chris for Cinephile, which didn't really fit into any of the categories. But
I was looking at all the
man.
sports categories. I'm
He
like, nope, we're
tried.
not baseball. We're not track. We're not.
Well,
I'm like,
this is the-
I'm like,
Put
Adman's
that-
diverse.
Look, add that to the pro Chris tally in the competition.
You guys
I would say.
you guys are getting off track here because, and I do know Greg Cody will attest to this, that the whole point of speaking into microphones with freedom is to win awards, is to win podcast awards. But Chris Cote is trying to be executive producer with the resume of I'm the producer for Cinephile.
Well, hold on a second. This is now just coming to. Why didn't you nominate the Greg Cody show?
I didn't think of it.
That's a good question, Billy.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
you
an
are the
actual-
executive producer of my podcast.
I just didn't think of it.
Didn't think of it. And now I'm looking at this website. It says entries closed, which is the saddest 2 words I've ever
You'll
heard.
get
in my
them
life.
next year, Greg.
Lord almighty.
Okay, but I'd love to talk all day about podcast awards and how it is that we should win them. But we've
So
got
would
a tournament. A local team has accomplished something, and I'd like to talk about that. Katie Meier is going to join us.
FAU.
FAU as well. Stugotz, proud FAU allegiance guy. You've been pronouncing Glades Road incorrectly. You've been making it, I don't know which it is, Glades Boulevard, but you've been
Gladys.
making Glades Road.
Right. It's Glad Road these days, I'll tell you
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Glad Road.
Yes, hit him with the. You got to move fast in that executive producer role, Chris Cote. You got to hit him with the loser
He just
James
asked,
Show
where is
sound.
it?
No, I don't want to do it.
That was a good one. That should get the Hakeem Nicks laugh.
No
No,
doubt.
it should not.
It
It
certainly
doesn't
should.
deserve it.
Glad Road.
There's a timing issue here with our new executive producer. He doesn't know how to find it. Billy coming from the back row to help.
Get off my plane.
Okay, there it is.
Nailed it.
Chris Cote trying very hard to win the executive producer position. The University of
It's a
Miami
boulevard, huh?
basketball team. I don't know whether it's a boulevard or a road. Whatever it is, you've been getting it wrong.
It's a road.
It's near you.
Right.
You drive past it every day.
I don't drive past it every day. It's just short of where I live, but I thought it was Glades Road. I mean,
It is.
It is.
Oh,
Unless there's
I
been
think
a
you
promotion.
you said Boulevard a couple times.
my bad.
Tomato, tomato.
Mm-hmm.
And Billy, just cleaning up something from yesterday.
Jabba. Oh,
No, we'll get to Jabba in a second. When 37
Will we?
brackets of 20 million correctly identify the final four,
yeah.
that's less than 2 in a million. The math of that is 37 into 40.
Yeah. What?
That if I tell you that 20 million have been in the bracket,
Yeah.
how do I get to 2 of 1 million? How do I get to 2? If I multiply 2
1 + 1, 2.
by 20,
20.
I get to almost 40, and I get to that it's 2 in almost a million.
So what did I say? I said 140 million or something, right? Here's the thing about those numbers. By the way, this is what I've learned in the world of sports, and I think that you guys can attest to this. You can make up whatever stat you want to prove your point for any situation. You know what I mean? There's always a number. That's the thing about numbers. You can play with them however you want. And here's the thing about 37 out of 20 million or whatever the number is, right? We're just assuming that everybody that did a bracket signed up at ESPN.com, which is absolutely not how it works. So there's no way of knowing how many people
Isn't that just
actually...
ESPN brackets? I thought that the 20 million was just ESPN. I assumed that there were more brackets than that they were just going from their batch, no?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. People do hand brackets everywhere. That's what I do. I like the handwritten bracket. I don't know. Yes, I do. I absolutely do.
When was the last time you did a handwritten bracket?
Last week or 2 weeks ago.
There's something going on with these two, Dan.
Where is it?
There's something going on with Tony
I don't
and
like
Billy.
Billy today.
Yeah.
Back
you
when
don't
I did brackets, they were always handwritten.
Yeah.
You don't like Billy in general. Regardless, I don't know what's happening with Tony and Billy. The Joba Chamberlain podcast, what's happening with that?
Well, that's the question. So, we've had multiple meetings where it's like, hey, what do we do? How do we make this next? And like Stugotz will be in this meeting. He's like, oh yeah, buddy, we'll call you next week, whatever, right? And then we want to branch out to God Bless Baseball. But baseball season starts. We missed the WBC. I don't know what we tell Jabba at this point, because Jabba is a fan of the show, the regular show. He listens to the show. He'll like text us regularly about things that happen on the show. It's really flattering and kind of weird, honestly, that like Joba Chamberlain has become like tight with us.
Jabba's the reason we had Eli Manning on. He's the reason we had, I believe, Matt Rule on. These are his friends. Like, we'd like to do a baseball show with Jabba. We're just, we're trying to get there, Dan.
Billy,
He's been doing a great job for us for free up until this point, but that's kind of where like what do we do? That's where we do like how do we
Chris,
do?
it's over there. He's got to produce his own segment by finding either the Hakeem.
off my
for the love of God!
So that's the
two.
thing is I don't know what we do here. Like how do we? Because I can't have Jabba do a baseball podcast for free for you, right? So what do we tell
This is
him?
what I sense on you, though. This is the undercurrent, and you tell me you tell me if I'm wrong.
You're gonna blame me.
How do you know?
We've been doing this for a while.
Well, I just want to know what Stugotz has promised Jabba. Like, I'm scared.
Nothing.
Are you?
He's been good about not
I've learned my lesson.
directly making promises while not also like he'll just leave the door open, which is good. But at some point, baseball season starts, and what do we tell Jabba? And then we were all excited, and we were talking like, well, what would we do? How do we do it? Because if we did a God Bless Baseball, we would probably like have it mirror God Bless Football, right? Like, we'd have like different segments with different people. Someone actually suggested to us, which would have been funny, is to do God Bless Baseball not with Jabba, with a random football player, like from like a backup like quarterback from years ago, and that's how we should do God Bless Baseball.
Jabba was on God Bless Football, so that would make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Ice him out? Ice out Jabba?
Well, we can't do it to Jabba, but we also like in the meetings he was talking to us about. He wanted to talk about like Nebraska college baseball, and we're like, well, I don't know what we do about that.
You
Jabba.
got to do it with a guy who played football but had a chance to play baseball. You know, like Danny Cannell, a guy like that. Not that I wanted to be Danny Cannell.
Sounds like you just want to do a podcast with Danny Cannell now.
Greg Cody, I make a lot of fun of you for a variety of different things, but you are a local historian. You have covered this market for a long time. You remember what it was for Bill Foster to be coaching a University of Miami team that was trying to resurrect itself as a program after 15 years off when the best player was Rick Barry and they were playing in the Knight Center in front of 2,000 people trying to get a program off the ground that this week celebrates its finest moment. The basketball program has always been an afterthought around here. It's always been third place in programs because the baseball team and the football team have won championships. But now a thing has come to Coral Gables. Mike Ryan doesn't like the term bought. 4 of their players getting a lot of NIL money, 4 new players from other schools, and now the construct of minor league basketball is so that Coral Gables has a team in the championship as the entire landscape changes and you got to buy your way into the game. And the group here is generally surprised because I'm buoyant. I am happy that the university.
It's weird.
Yeah, stop, Dan.
It doesn't feel real. Like something's up is the thing. You know what I mean? The old rope-a-dope. Something's going. I don't know if I used that right. Something's going on here. I feel like, and we haven't quite gotten to the bottom of it because you've been walking around smiling, and everyone's like, something's amiss. What's going on?
I would describe myself as walking on air.
Jubilant.
Wow.
Yeah, well, because a cartoon Cuban blowhard is running the Miami sports department, and he bought a handful of players, and now they're in the game. And Mike Ryan is just Homer at the middle of the boosterism in the middle of that program.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with the Cuban blowhard buying stuff up and making something good? I like that.
Something changed with Mike too because
he took off his shirt.
No, but yesterday he was like, yeah, John Ruiz deserves credit. Where I feel like during the year it hasn't been that. You know what I mean? It's been like, this is not why this has changed, blah, 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 blah.
Well, now the Final Four is what's changed.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't deserve credit, particularly in, we could ask Katie Meier, she began the season suspended because of related to her NIL deals with the Cavender twins and related directly to John Ruiz. So that was a little bit of a mess for the university. But the rules have completely changed, and UM basketball, particularly the men, they have played perfectly, those new rules. And 2 of their 4 best players are transfers. And the transfer portal, more than NIL, has just changed the landscape. And Larrañaga was saying yesterday, it's leveled the court. It's leveled the court where now the interlopers have caught up to the Blue Bloods. And particularly you're seeing that this year in the men's Final Four. Whether that's a trend, we'll have to wait and see. But right now, it seems like college basketball has parity like it never has.
But also FAU is there.
That's what I was just about to say. It's hard to argue that about this changed landscape when we have one of the craziest upsets this year, where a team that doesn't have NIL deals is in the Final Four.
They're a 9 seed, and maybe it has changed. Maybe we'll see this moving forward, but I will remind everyone, we're a year removed from UNC, Duke, Villanova, Kansas.
Right.
That's what the Final Four was last year.
Yeah. No, you're right. And in FAU's case, their third best player, the big Russian, Vladislav Golden, he is a transfer who came a year ago, I think, from Texas Tech. So the transfer portal has changed everything, including FAU. But to your point, despite a 30-3 regular season, they're only a 9 seed because they're coming from a smaller conference. They're going to move up to a bigger conference in a few months.
Yeah, I didn't know about that transfer because I just started following the team a week ago.
Is it possible, though, and I don't want to rain on anyone's parade, but is it possible that because of the way that this year has played out, that now NIL numbers on the bigger schools that have been embarrassed are going to go way up, and the transfer portal is not going to be as easy because they're going to see this and be like, okay, we can't let this.
Well, this is a disaster for the sport. There's going to be a ratings disaster. South Florida, FAU Miami is a ratings disaster.
Bring it, South Florida. Let's go. We need you to carry the nation.
We can ruin.
We won't.
We can ruin college basketball with a couple of wins. Why do you think I'm smiling?
Imagine.
So now.
There it is.
Imagine a FAU game on television television 3 weeks ago, what number would that have gotten?
That would be
here
on
in
the
South Florida?
CW.
Seriously.
You wouldn't be able to find it.
It's going to be the national
Not unlike the
championship.
ACC network on the beach. I can't get any of the games. I got to go hunting these games because on the beach you cannot get Miami's games.
What's interesting is that the women's Final Four is a dream Final Four. It's as good as it could be. Contrasted with the men, it's probably arguable for the first time ever, is the women's championship game going to have ratings comparable to the men's? Because it's a big contrast between the men and women.
We do not go to you enough. I don't think that what you're saying is accurate. I don't know if it's not accurate, but it would be a fairly amazing thing if college basketball has now arrived at something that feels like ratings equity. I simply question what you're saying because it seems like it'd be a little soon for that, even with all of the support that the women's game has, and even though the numbers would go down on the men's game. But last year was a monster success for television because of what Stugotz is saying. Everybody could dabble in the nostalgia and the tradition, and we don't get many opportunities to actually talk to you about 50 years of service to this sports community. You've seen something that right now, whether it's John Ruiz or otherwise, is in the middle of the greatest thing it's ever known. Because even when Rick Barry was a Hall of Famer here, the program wasn't this good. This is the furthest that they've ever gone.
Right.
And this is a week of celebration of a program that's really been, it's been 40, 50 years in the building of moving from, they used to play in a hotel. The James L. Knight Center's a hotel.
Right.
They used to play their college games in the ballroom of a hotel.
That's where my high school graduation was.
It's amazing.
It's the biggest surprise in South Florida sports since the '83 Hurricanes won their first national championship. For me, it's the most out of nowhere, unexpected. Sweet 16, fine. Elite Eight, okay, 2 years in a row for the Elite Eight, but then to keep winning and get to where they are, it's incredible. To your earlier point, though, you love a Cinderella in the Final Four. You don't love 3 Cinderellas in the Final Four, and that's why the ratings are going to hurt a little bit.
There's not a matchup that moves the needle. Not a single combination that moves the needle in terms of television ratings. But isn't FAU the bigger surprise, the bigger shock?
Yeah, I think so,
bigger
too.
than UM making it to the Final Four.
I think the combo of those two, and parenthetically, I'll throw in Nova Southeastern in between the two, winning the Division II national championship. So 50 miles apart, you have FAU, UM, and a Division II national champ in between. They're glory days for college basketball in a football town. It's a remarkable thing that I don't think we've seen down here.
How about Arlene Cody? My mom, Greg's wife, went to FAU and Nova Southeastern University.
That's
what
true.
a week for Arlene Cody.
Yeah, how about that?
All
Yes.
right, go sit in the penalty box.
I'll applaud for her.
Wow.
Don't care about
2
Arlene's.
minutes for
Don't-
cheering on mom.
Family
Get out of
newsletter.
here. Don't
That's big.
really
No,
need.
that's important.
Don't really need your mom's allegiances.
Oh, yeah, big
don't
time.
care.
Unfortunate.
Well, what
Big
are
time.
her
Anyone else here
allegiances?
go to FAU and Nova? Anyone else?
All right,
No?
why are you
Oh,
still
wow.
here? Go ahead and
No,
get
that's
out
a
of
good
here.
point.
Thank
Jumpin'
you.
Charlie, the other member of
for
my
the love
household,
of
did
God.
not go to college, but we love him anyway.
Not yet.
You go sit out there as well.
Wow.
Your dog jumping Charlie didn't go to college.
Jumping with an apostrophe.
Yeah, no G.
All right,
Yep.
go on and get out
It's
of
a
there.
fine. Yeah.
It is a fine. You got a name wrong.
Yep.
Get out of here. Thank you.
You just got
It's a
here.
bargain.
I mean,
It's a sale. I just got here. What are you doing?
You can sit outside. The two
I
FAU,
have to work.
they are supposed to be FAU royalty. We are now negotiating again for Dusty May to celebrate. He's told us now a couple of times that the Codys as FAU graduates can participate.
I'd like to mock ourselves for doing the worst Dusty May interviews of all the Dusty May interviews. He is doing some interviews where he is pouring his heart out, okay? Wearing his emotions on his sleeve, and we got nothing out of him. We keep asking him for stuff, and he keeps revealing stuff to other shows and giving us nothing because we're not asking the right questions. I mean,
know.
shame on us.
What are we missing, though? Because, like, Dan was trying to go in, I think,
I
a
know.
little bit, right? And then we're reading, and it's like, I read a quote where he said that he was crying and that he thought that he like ruined his career by taking the job. And then we asked him like, hey, so you gonna go take another job now that you got this big win? And he's like, nah, I live in paradise. And we're like, wait, what?
Well, I asked him about the emotion with his wife. I asked him about how substandard the facilities were. And he then tells somebody else that he broke down weeping and wanted to make a quitting decision at the beginning at FAU because he walked on campus and he was like, oh my God, this is horrifying.
By the way,
what have I done with my life? I don't have an agent. I'm an idiot. He didn't tell us any of that. I asked him just softly, like, hey, what was the emotion like with your wife? And what is the story there of what the sacrifices that she's had to endure? And he didn't really give us that.
is it possible Dusty may not like us?
Get him out of here.
to go? Don't leave Tony
No, I want you to
alone.
hear. No, I want you
Can't
to.
go.
No, I want you to hit the get off my plane on yourself. See if you can find the correct thing. See if you angle for Chris Cote's executive producer position by playing the right sound.
Get off my plane.
My God.
Greg, she can hear you.
Good.
You're a real
problem.
amateur. You would have known this if you'd been at the meeting.
Hey, Kate, how you doing?
Nice to see you, Katie. Thank you and congratulations on all of the success.
Thank you.
I call her Kate. I've known her a long time. Kate, am I allowed to call you Kate?
Kate's how we roll in my family.
Thank you.
All right.
Is everyone ready? Everyone's ready?
Give her a standing ovation is what I'm going to do.
The last 30 seconds, you've been terrible, and you wouldn't have been if you'd been at the meeting. Katie Meier with us. She's the UM women's basketball coach, so close to Greg Cody that he could call her Kate the way that her family did. Standing O.
Standing over Katie.
You're giving me that right.
What
Thank
a
you.
year. What a run. What a year. What a run.
Thank you.
We are very happy for you. And we were just talking about the history of the program and what you guys have been building for a long time there. And you've been there a long time. So we want to congratulate you on the furthest appearance ever. And I want to start with, not to be agitating, but is the loss at the end worse because it's that damn Mulkey?
Well, I have a lot of respect for her, but boy, that would have been great to win, and I think Kim and I have known each other a long time, back even when we started recruiting, when I first, got my chops. I was an assistant at Tulane and she was an assistant at Louisiana Tech. And we recruited against each other quite a lot. And I was the rookie and she was the veteran. We had been all the Final Fours. So I learned a lot from Kim. But it would have been nice. It would have been kind of a crowning moment to beat her. But I think one thing that got lost in the whole thing is, like, my team, I loved our matchup against LSU. And I really, really liked our game plan. So that was the shame of it all.
Oh, you thought you were going to win, and then the shots didn't fall. And
and a lot of times as a coach, I hate when coaches in the locker room, I always say stat sheets are for losers. You see a coach in a press conference and they lost, so they go straight to the stat sheet and they start blaming their kids. Well, if so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. And, a lot of times it has a lot to do with the other team. And did you get your shots for the right people? The other team sometimes prevents your shooters from scoring. But, in this particular game, I do give a lot of credit to LSU. But in this particular game, there's not a whole heck of a lot I would do over again, except maybe switch out the basketball. Or something.
Wow. So you don't feel like they're better than you are. You still feel like you matched up well against them.
No, they're better than us because they didn't play well either and they beat us, right? So, but I did like the matchup.
True or false? As much as it hurt to
I picked Dare.
True or false? As much as it hurt to lose at the end, it hurt even more because of Mulkey's damn outfits.
It has to. Come on.
Well, I don't know if you caught it, but the first thing they asked in the press conference when the matchup was set was, "What do you think Kim's going to wear?" And I was like, "Why do I care?" I said, "But I'm wearing overalls." And they were like, "What?" And I said, "Because opportunity is often missed because it looks like work and it's dressed up in overalls." So we go to the handshake right in the game, like, 30 seconds before tip. And she's like, "Where are your damn overalls, Meyer?" And I was like, Kim, that was kind of a joke. And then I didn't want to say anything. I couldn't say anything behind that.
Can you tell us, can you just put it in historical context? As someone who's made the tournament, I believe, I don't have it in front of me, but 10 times, and Sweet 16 was elusive. Put into context what the journey has felt like and how much of a mountain climb that felt like and how much you enjoyed the culmination of that mountain climb this season.
Right. I think so many of the seeds, we've had teams that were seeded way higher than this, right? Had way better regular season records, had way more. I mean, we didn't even have a first team all conference player on this team. Not that I agree with that, but if the perspective was, we played 3 first team All-Americans in a row and to win, to get to the Elite Eight, and Lola Pendande guarded every single one of them. That's a big accomplishment. So a lot of it is matchups. It's when did your team catch fire? And then, 14 quarters ago, we were down 17, embarrassed at halftime. So those are just lightning strikes in a bottle. And if you catch a wave and you have a team that is faithful, all right, that just looking, seeking any little crack, any little opportunity, anything we could capitalize on, we were humble enough to know that was our DNA. We were humble enough to know if it took this and that presented itself, we pounced on it. And I'm really proud of that, because that's a heck of a lot. That's not just a lot of coaching. That's a lot of team chemistry and a lot of work they did off the court.
Coach, it was really cool to see your connection with Destiny Harden this season. Obviously, she struggled a little bit in the final game, but she was really just the leader of this team. Can you speak to just the connection between you and her?
Well, Des is, this seems like, of course, all the players are like this, but they're not. Des is like, look at me, tell me the truth. Then she might get her feelings hurt a little bit. She's a very, very kind, giving person, but she'll absorb it, right? She absorbs whatever the truth is, whatever the information is, and then she fights through it a little bit, and then she comes up on the other side. So it's her growth, right? We talk about seeking the gap, like I always tell a player, here's where you are, here's where you need to be, and this gap in between this is where we need to live. And if you don't want to do that, you don't want to live it, because first you got to define it. Then you got to let someone tell you, hey, you're not there. Like, you're this far away. And if you're a recruit and you go on your recruiting visit and the coaches aren't doing something like this for you to tell you your growth and what you need, don't go there, right? Destiny was like, what? Tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. And then when she first got here, she didn't play a whole heck of a lot. And she didn't accept that. She kept saying, okay, you talked about that gap, like, in my office, in my assistant's office, watching film, even before practice, running through plays after practice. And she made you be in the mud in the gap with her. And she made you and she forced you as a coach to make her better. And so there's nothing more rewarding than a relationship like that.
Kate, a follow-up to that. There was a particularly poignant moment late in the LSU game. The score was out of reach by that time. You called a timeout with, I think, 7 seconds left, and it was to give departing senior Destiny Harden that farewell moment. And the two of you had as emotional an embrace as I've ever seen in a sports competition. Can you talk about that moment and what she has meant to you in your long career?
Yeah, thank you. Those are the moments, like, it's just why you do it, and you slug through some stuff together. You really slug through it. And there's this kid that just helps you have a spine, and she's that kid.
Coach, what do you tell your entire team after that loss? What's the message?
Honestly, to be very proud, as they did everything we asked for them to do. I mean, there's games when you lose and you're a coach and you're like, if you'd have followed the game plan, if you would have just done that defensively, it was a Herculean effort. And the kids that we were asking to shut down the two, Twin Towers were the same players, Destiny, Jazz, and Lola, that we needed to win the matchup on the offensive side too. But Destiny and Jazz were 6-7 inches deficit on their matchup, and they were pounding and battling and clawing and everything else, and our guards were doubling. And so the guards were exhausted because they had to double and press, and the bigs were exhausted because they had to pound. And we got to the offensive end, and we did the right thing, but we just didn't have the lift. And, I'm proud of them. They should be proud of themselves. But the biggest thing I told them, and I don't usually get this way, I'm very humble about the opportunity the university has given all of us. And I'm always saying, you need to represent this university and, whatever. But I told them this time, I think the university is lucky to have that type of character representing this is an awesome institution, but I have an awesome team. And I do believe the university feels very, very fortunate that we were nationally represented by such amazing women that are classy, but will fight like hell for a win, or for their teammates, or for their coaches, or for their fans.
Well, if I may, because I don't want to speak for you and I don't want to drape it in too much syrup, but when you talk about Destiny being the spine of the team and those moments being the reason you coach, like who you are, the relationship being something that you and her will carry for the rest of your life. And when you're holding her, you're like, no, I know what you went through to get here. And she, in that moment, is looking at you. Thank you for challenging me and being an ass and telling me the truth and telling me the things that hurt. Thank you for the tough love. Like you're talking about there, right? That's not even coaching, is it? That's love.
Yeah, it's not coaching. And when you have a player like, and I, in a couple of weeks, I'm flying to Portugal because one of my players, Stephanie Ederstrom, that was here very, very, very early in my career, is getting married and wants me there. So, those are the type of things that you do when the players become family. And I can't stand in recruiting when all these coaches talk about family, and then you watch them and their player makes a mistake, and that ain't family. They treat them like another player. Where, when players make mistakes, they didn't try to. They didn't want to. If you have players on your team that don't want to win and want to make mistakes, then you got a real problem. So who's there for them when they mess up? And when you're there for anyone when they make a mistake or they mess up, they get a little different feeling about you as a coach. And when the players are there for the coaches, when I make a bad call, you got a little different feeling about your players. We're all in this together, and that's tight bond.
Is there a wedding invitation you didn't get that you're hurt by? That you're like, I really feel like I brought
Had
up
the wedding been in, like Sioux City or something, I might not be going, but Portugal's pretty hot. I'm gonna go.
It's pretty far though.
Or like a bad
it's like a hassle.
I just have to go.
Like a bad player.
She's hanging up on my arm, looking at her right now. A picture of me hugging her just like Des. We got smiles though because we won. I think it's a picture of us after we beat Rutgers. And I'm looking at it right now, and I have the same feeling I have about a lot of my players that are hanging up in my office.
Is that the most emotional moment you had, or give us one somewhere along this path where you, grizzled, hardened fighter, have been like, wow, I am so grateful that I get to experience something this moving?
Yeah, after we beat Villanova to make the Elite Eight, I had a lot of family that came, and we played in Bloomington, and that's about 4.5 hours from where I grew up, but nobody could get there and couldn't drive my mom, and my brothers were working and my sisters couldn't get there in a short notice. But when we got to Greenville, for some reason, 6 of my siblings were able to go. They flew my mom in, picked her up in Atlanta, schlepped her to the game. Probably 10 ex-players of mine made an effort to go there. 3 other people that I coached with. Some of them that were my assistants here, my head coach, my mentor. Everybody just showed up in Greenville.
All of them knowing what your story is, right? All of them knowing how much you've clawed for this and how much of your identity is tied up in this.
Exactly. So, and they are a part of it all. Like, they've been in every step. So when we won, I made the just horrible coaching error of jumping up and down and forgetting to coach the handshake. I forgot to shake the other coach's hand, but I went straight to my team, and then I saw my family, and I just was like, where's mom? So that's as emotional. That's the first time I let everything kind of out, and I just hugged her and climbed up in the stands and was with my mom. Who's 83. My dad was at home. He's going to be 94 in a couple days here, and I couldn't make it. So yeah, that was everything in a bottle, like everything I've done, and it was like a validation.
We took basketball from Indiana. You agree, right?
Yeah, we ripped it out of there.
Yeah, that's right.
And I know our men did it, on a neutral site, but my God, doing it at Indiana, they have a great crowd. It was unbelievable. It was sick. What a great basketball environment, and to do it there, and to do it when they thought, okay, they tied it up, and thank you, Miami, but we're going to pat you on the head and give you a little consolation prize. I really thought that moment was there.
Oh, God.
And we just said no. If there was still 6 seconds left, I said, this ain't happening. We deserve this win. Go rip it. Go grab it. Go take it. And we did.
That is the best win of your career, correct? That one in that place.
Yeah, probably. There was probably a win somewhere when I was about to be fired that we won, and I kept my job. So there was probably a bigger one for me personally.
How close were you to be? How close do you feel like you were?
Maybe that second ACC win in a horrible year or something. But for the platform, for what we've been doing, and for people to notice. You know, the ACC coaches always know that Miami can go somewhere and they can beat you on your home court. We've shown that, but I don't think the other coaches really knew we were capable of that. That's in our DNA, and it needs to be in your DNA in women's basketball because the top seeds host. 16 teams host the first 2 games. It is such an advantage, and when you look at the numbers, it just never happens. And we went and did it.
Katie, congratulations. Thank you. We are happy for having you on the show and happy about your success. Thank you.
Thanks. A lot of fun.
Thank you, Katie.
Thanks, Kate.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Kate. A Chris Cote special there. I don't know who likes those more, you or Billy.
It's just like
what?
When people talk over each other and they try to get in that second time.
Well, I felt validated because it happened to me.
I'm gonna go Billy.
I also have, by the way, a list of things that were said while she was in the Zoom.
The way
no
this started.
one knew what was going on
Okay.
that she was listening to.
Let's
Because one of them led to us
amazing.
turning off the microphones, and then we went back and turned on the microphones just to have another thing happen right away.